Hi friends, thank you for joining me today. It's Andrea here and I'm ready to share with you my recipe for Vietnamese crab noodle soup or Bún Riêu. Over the years I've had a chance to refine this dish, which I'll be sharing with you today. Okay, so if you're ready, let's get started. Okay, so this is a jar of crab paste in soybean oil. This is an item that you cannot skip because this is truly the essence of Bún Riêu. We actually went around all over the place to try to look for this. We eventually found it at 88 Supermarket if you are in Vancouver. So I'm gonna start by separating the oils from the paste. So I'm separating the oils from this crab paste, and the oils are actually going to be used to saute our tomatoes later on, and the crab paste we're going to be using it for our crab meatballs. Okay, I'm gonna crack 2 eggs into here. I'm also going to put in some crab meat. I couldn't find fresh crab meat at my grocery store, so I'm just gonna use canned crab meat instead. Okay, so I've just drained as much of the liquid as I was able to from in here, and now I'm gonna add the crab meat into my crab paste mixture here. So we're adding in 1 cup worth of crab meat here. 1 can is about half a cup, and so 2 cans would be about a cup. I'm gonna also add in a cup of ground pork. Okay, so we're gonna stir it to combine now. Ooh, this is a bit full. I wish I got a bigger bowl. Okay, so now that we're done stirring, we're just gonna go ahead and put this off to the side to let the flavors combine. In the meantime, let's chop up our tomatoes, our garlic, and our shallot. So I've got here three large tomatoes that I'm going to dice up, 6 cloves of garlic. So now I'm going to dice my shallot here. Okay, I'm also going to prepare my cilantro and green onion and lime. So we're just going to take a small bunch of cilantro here and just chop them. I've also got some green onion here, 3 stalks that I'm going to roughly chop. The ends are a little thick, so I'm just going to slice them halfway through. And lime. Okay, so now we're going to peel our shrimps and reserve the shells because we're going to use it in our stock to add an extra seafoody flavor. So this is just 1 pound of shrimp here. What I like to do is I like to buy shrimp that are already deveined, and because the shell is split open, it makes it easier to deshell. Just pull the top part of the shell off, grab onto the tail here, and pull. And then you've got your deshelled shrimp. Okay, so now it's time to start cooking. We are going to turn our stove on to medium here. I'm just gonna let this warm up. Our surface here is hot. We're going to add in the soybean oil. And also our garlic and onion. And let that saute for a little bit. Then add in our tomatoes here. Gonna let that saute for a couple of minutes. Okay, so next we're going to add in our stock. You need about 8 cups of stock. You can use homemade or store-bought. It's usually a pork-based broth, but I find that using chicken yields a sweeter soup. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Okay, so we're gonna give this a stir. Add our shrimp shells. Turn the heat up and let it boil. Okay, we're gonna put the lid on, and once it comes to a boil, we'll turn the heat down to low to let it simmer for about half an hour. So our soup is boiling now. We're just gonna turn the heat to low and let it simmer for half an hour. Okay, so while we're waiting for the soup, we're just gonna go ahead and save some time by preparing the noodles. So cook your 1 package of noodles according to the instructions. Soak your bean sprouts to clean them. Now we're going to cut up our tofu puffs in half. Okay, so I also like to garnish my bowls with some Vietnamese ham, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up a few slices. So in half an hour now, we're going to open up the lid and scoop out all of the shrimp shells. Okay, so we've removed all of our shrimp shells now. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and 1 teaspoon of shrimp paste. Okay, so now we're gonna bring the pot back up to a boil. And once the pot boils, we're going to make our meatballs. We're gonna scoop in this mixture 1 scoop at a time. We just want a gentle boil because we don't want the bubbling of the soup to break up the meatballs before they've had a chance to solidify. Okay, we're just gonna put on the lid to allow these guys to cook. Okay, so they should cook fairly quickly in a couple of minutes. You'll know they're done cooking when they start floating to the top of the soup, at which point we can go ahead and add our tofu puffs. Okay, so our meatballs are starting to float to the top, which means that they're almost done. So what we're going to do is we're just gonna go ahead and throw in the tofu puffs and let it continue to simmer. Now we're gonna leave this alone for 10 minutes. Okay, so now with 5 minutes left on the clock, we're gonna go ahead and cook our shrimp in the soup. We can cook them all at once, just put them in a strainer and dump them in the soup. Just let it go for a couple of minutes. You know that they're done when they change colors and stop being opaque. I just love tiger shrimp. They become such a beautiful color when they're cooked. It's a good idea to cook them in a strainer so that you know where all your shrimps are and you can take them out easily. Otherwise, they might be floating somewhere in the soup and then continue to cook and then shrink and overcook. Okay, so our soup has simmered for its last 10 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and try it and add salt to taste. Be careful when you're stirring, otherwise you'll break up the meatballs. Okay, now it's time to assemble. Okay, so now I'm just assembling our bowl here. So I've got our noodles. Oh, that's a lot of noodles. Okay, so just put a single portion of noodles in your bowl. Don't be tempted to put a lot because you're going to be filling it with lots of different toppings and lots of soup. Okay, so I'm gonna put some cilantro and green onion to let it cook a little bit with the soup, and then we can garnish with more later on. Oh, don't forget the bean sprouts. And then you can garnish with more cilantro and green onion. And top it off with a lime wedge, or 2. Here you have it, friends. Easy to prepare, but the depth of flavors and the complexity of the soup will have your meal companions thinking that you slaved away for hours making this. It's also perfect when you want a Vietnamese noodle soup that's not pho. Thank you again for joining me today. If you liked my video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more fun food ideas. Until next time, friends. Mwah!